I'd love to get your thoughts on the new GM contract, and obviously Ford and Fiat Chrysler are waiting in the wings here.
Yeah, so it's over, obviously, after 40 days or so. Thank God it's over. GM needed to get back to producing cars. The workers need to start earning money again. So this now goes to Ford and Chrysler, and the way this usually works is they take the deal negotiated with the first automaker and basically present it to the others and say, this is what we expect. The problem for Ford is less profitable than GM, and it actually has more U.S. workers than GM. So Ford is in a worse position in terms of accepting this type of deal, the pay raises that go along with it, more health care spending in order to keep the worker contribution at a very low 3%. So Ford, usually the other automakers just rubber stamp the deal, but Ford may not be able to do that. So we'll see probably within a few weeks whether
if they're not able to do that, do you think they could be facing a strike of their own?
There could be a strike
at Ford, you think?
Yes. Yep.
Do you think that it was
Fiat Chrysler would come last?
At the end of the day, was it worth it for these UAW workers to walk out, given the deal that they got?
They got some of the things they wanted. So yes, they got a faster pathway to permanent status for temporary workers. They got pretty good raises, and they did get to keep their out-of-pocket health care expenditures where they were.
That's huge.
So they don't have, that is a big, everybody in America knows that.
Yeah.
If you don't end up not having to pay more for health care, you count that as a win these days, because health care always goes up by more than inflation. What the workers did not get is the reopening of the 3 U.S. factories. And you can, now that this is over, you can kind of see GM's strategy in retrospect. They closed those factories last year without a doubt, knowing this was going to be an issue when it came time to renegotiate the union contract. And GM just held firm on that. They weren't going to give that back.
Yeah. And Rick, overall, it seems as though the costs of doing business for these automakers is about to go up at a very weird time for them.
Right, because we've probably already hit peak auto, and we're probably going to have sliding sales for some time. And of course, this is a very cyclical industry. So automakers get hammered when there's a recession. One of the first things you're not going to spend money on in a recession is a new car. The automakers know that. They've been going through this for decades. And one has to assume GM feels like this is a deal they can live with because they signed off on it.
Yeah.
And of course, now it's a race to who's going to bring out the electric cars in a big way to the mass market. And that's also going to be costly.
Yeah, and it's going to take a long time. We have the starter versions of electric vehicles here now, but they are still way too expensive for ordinary buyers. And the automakers know they have to make this transition. They have to get battery costs down. They have to get other costs down. But I've driven a bunch of electric vehicles, and they're very cool. I mean, they feel great. There are fewer moving parts, so probably less maintenance over time and things like that. Once we get there, we're not there yet.
We've got to get there.
There's a big transition coming. It's going to be slow and wrenching. But it's going to be cool when
Tesla will keep them all on their toes.
Yep, they will.
All right.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.